All right, hello. The goal in this video, pretty simple, is to write a program to determine if a word is a palindrome. It's actually a pretty famous computer science problem, and actually one of my favorite programs. So, if you first thing is you don't like if you don't know what a palindrome is, I got a couple things for you. Um, so basically, palindrome is a word that is spelled the same forward as it is backwards, and some kind of famous examples: level, right, is same forward and backwards. Taco cat, believe it or not, is the same forward and backwards. And this one, if you took out all the spaces, go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog, also a palindrome, right? So uh, they're kind of cool. Here's some examples. These aren't the same forward and backwards, so these would not be palindromes. And I posted this video. This is a Weird Al song. If you don't know who Weird Al is, this will give you a good education here. But he wrote a whole song that's written in palindromes, and it's pretty hilarious. So you can watch that to get um, more examples if you're not sure what palindrome is. Okay, so our key is to take a word, all right, and then write code that'll determine is it the same forwards as it is backwards. Okay, so basically here would be like a setup. So I have a palindrome one with a main method, and I'm gonna have them enter their word and check it for palindrome-ness, which I'm not sure if that's a word or not, but basically check if it's a palindrome. So we're gonna scan their answer, and then we gotta use this word variable and figure out if that is a palindrome or not. Okay, so if you feel like you can do this, this is a pretty good challenge, so you could pause the video and try. At the very least, I'd like you to pause it and try and think of an algorithm, like how on earth would we do this? All right, because there's actually sort of two different ways. So maybe pause the video and see if you can come up with that and do some of the coding steps if you feel confident. All right, so again, hopefully you had a chance to dig into this a little bit and try some stuff. There's two main algorithms, right? The probably the easiest one is just to reverse the original word, all right? Because we've already talked a little bit about how to do it in reverse. So if you write code to reverse the original word and then just check if the reversed word is equal to the original word. Okay, and that'll basically determine if it's a palindrome or not. All right. So that's probably the easiest one, and I'm maybe going to write the code with you for that quick before I talk about the other one. So if you want to try, again, try the code here, that'd be great, and then on pause the video to see the solution. Okay, so kind of the idea for this program, we've done something real similar to this, but I guess I'll blast through it real quick again, is we're going to take an index I, and we're just going to do substring of I to I plus 1. Okay, and we're going to loop through, and that'll get us the letters one at a time. So if I starts at 0, then we do 0 to 1, and that will get us the M. And then we do 1 to 2, and that will get us the A, etc., etc. Okay, the only difference is if I want to reverse a string, I actually want to go in the reverse order. So I'm actually going to have I start at length minus 1, and then loop down to 0. So in this case, we want I to be length minus 1, which would be 4, and then it would go 4, 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, then 0, and then do the substring of I to I plus 1, and that will get you the letters in reverse order. All right, and then as far as the actual, like how do you build the reverse string, is I would start with one called reverse and have it be blank, and then append the letters, so that the first time we do like reverse, and then we basically do plus equals the new letter. All right, so basically it would start off as like S, so the first time through the loop, string would just append and have S, and then the next time it'll append the H to the end of it, and then after that it'll get the T and append that, so it'll look like that, right? And then so forth and so on. Then it'll get the A and append it to the end. right? And then keep going till you get the M last. Okay, and then you'll have the word reversed. Okay, so I'm going to make a loop that goes from length -1 down to 0. All right. Oh, and actually I should start off, make a string called reverse and just set it to be nothing at the start. And then we're going to append letters to that one at a time. Okay, so here we go with the loop. Nope, I want to do I length -1. So I'm going to do the word length -1. Okay, and I'm going to keep going while I is greater than or equal to 0, right? Because 0 is the last index we're going to check. That'll be the 0th letter. And then I want to do -I. All right, so I'm going backwards through the letters. And then I will get the letter one at a time. So I'm just going to call word.substring that goes from I to I+1, like we've done a bunch now. That'll get the letter and then just append it. So I'm going to take reverse and I'm going to do plus equals the new letter. So it just adds it to the end. Okay, and before I do my if check here on the end, I would highly recommend, let's just make sure it's working. So I'm just going to print out the reverse word just to make sure it works. And I'm going to run it at least once here. I'm going to try math. And it looks like it's doing it okay. It's reversing it. Okay, so the last part again, hopefully you've already written this. If not, make sure you pause it and try this before, just check in with what I have here. Okay, so the if is pretty straightforward. So if the reverse word is equal, and we could probably do ignore case too here, but either way, the original word. So if that is true, then we're gonna sys out print, and I'm gonna say the word, whatever that is, plus is a palindrome. So if they're equal, then we say, yay, it is a palindrome. Otherwise, we're gonna say word is not a palindrome. Okay, and those are pretty much the only two things that happen. It either is or it isn't. All right, so let's do one. Let's try taco cat. It says taco cat is a palindrome. So I probably don't need this print in here anymore. Take this one out. Let's try one that's not. Let's try bubbles. That's a fun word, right? And bubbles is not a palindrome. Palindrome. Okay. All right. So again, that's probably the easy route on this. But I want to think like there is actually another way to do this. So again, I would encourage you to pause the video and see if you can think through the other possible way to do this. Okay, and so the other way to do it is basically pair up the first letter with the last letter and check if they're equal. Okay, and if they're not, then we can just say it's not a palindrome right away. If they are equal, just move one in, okay, and then pair up the next set and say, hey, are those equal? Right, and if they are, then keep going, move one in, right, and here they fall in the same spot, at which point we would know it's a palindrome. So basically we can just keep, moving in and checking pairs of letters until we either have a single letter left, or if it was even, you would have like, you'd pair the outside two, let's say there were 6 letters, then you'd pair the next two, and then at last you'd pair this last pair, right? If it was even, and as long as they are all equal to each other, then it is a palindrome. So you can get 2 different letters, pairs of letters, and check if those are equal, and if they're ever not, then it's not a palindrome. Okay, so here's another example of just a picture of it, is you just check the outside two, then move in, check the next two, move in, check the next two, move in and check the next two, right? So you just keep checking pairs, and you basically got to go to about halfway through the string, right? I think once you get to half the length, then you're done. right? And if it's an odd one, again, I don't even think you need to check the last one. You just need to check these pairs, and then if you have a single letter at the end, you know that that single letter is just a palindrome, right? So that's a pretty tricky algorithm, and I'll probably show the code here quick if you want. If you want to try, it's a real good challenge to code that up, but yeah, it's pretty tricky. So yeah, if you can't quite get it, no big deal, but if you want to give yourself a challenge, go ahead and try that and then on pause to see the solution. Okay, so to understand the code of this, and again, if you don't get this quite level of code, you don't need it quite yet. Later, this definitely could be something that like they would do on an AP test or whatever. But what we're really going to do here is we're going to have two indexes, one that's going to be like I, and then another one, I don't know, let's call it J maybe. And so what we're going to do is our loop can still be I. Okay, so and I will just go from like 0 to half the length. I think that'll work. Like here, the length would be 2.5, and then it would just divide to 2. So basically, we could just go, and then I, in this case, would go 0, 1, 2. And then what J is going to be is we're going to pair it with, in this case, J we want to be 4. Sorry, I want the 4 to pair here, excuse me. 4, and then 3, and then 2. Right, so J is just going to move 1 this way, while I moves 1 this way. Okay, and we're going to do that from 0 to length divided by 2. So our loop is going to have I as the index, and then we're going to make a separate one called J, and we just minus 1 each time. Okay, and basically J is going to start off at length -1, right? It's going to start at the end, which would be this letter length -1. All right, and then we're just going to get the letter at the ith position and the jth position and check if they're equal or not. Okay, so code is going to be a little bit different on this. So I'm going to actually delete this whole other code and do this a way different way. Okay, so I'm not going to reverse or anything this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do int j, and I'm going to start that off at word.length -1. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a Boolean, and I'm going to say is palindrome, and I'm going to set it to be true that it is. We're going to start with true, and then if we ever find a pair of letters that aren't equal, we're going to set that to be false. All right, so here goes my loop for I. So int I is going to be 0, and I'm going to do I less than the length divided by 2 plus I, and I think I am going to go equal to, right? Because if it was length 6th, I would want to go, no, actually I wouldn't. If it was length 6, we'd only need to do 0, 1, 2. We wouldn't need to go to the third spot. So actually, let's just go divide by 2. And again, if it's 5, we only need to do 1 and 2. So we'll be fine there. Length divided by 2 will be 2.5. And we can go and check this other letter. We'll just check it against itself, and that'll be okay. Okay. And then, so I'm going to get the letter. So I'm going to do string letter 1 equals word dot substring. And I'm still just going to go I to I plus 1, same as before. And same thing for J. I'm going to do string letter 2 equals word dot substring J plus 1. Okay. And then I'm going to do an if. So if letter 1 that equals letter 2, then we're okay. But I'm actually going to do the not of that. So I'm going to say if they're not equal, then is palindrome is going to be set to false. Okay, so basically it's just going to go through letter by letter, and it ever finds a pair that's not true, it sets it to false. All right, and so basically if it never gets set to false, if it never finds a pair that doesn't match, then it is a palindrome. Okay, so I don't even really need an else here because I'm by default setting it to true, and then saying if I ever do find a pair that isn't equal, then I'm going to set it to be false. right? And then all I need to do at the end is my system.out print based on whether or not it